So we've spoken today about multi-factor authentication, and I think people may or may not have heard of that. I think people are more likely to have heard of two-factor authentication, and I guess the likes of RSA have been selling the little key fobs for I don't know, probably 20 years now, where the numbers on there and it changes, and you have to have something you have, something you know. You have to put your PIN number in, then that gives you a one-time passcode. You put that in and it time synced with a server. It's got an algorithm that's unique to you, and then that logs you into a system. And people have been using that to protect corporate access, very successfully for years. But you know, there's downsides to that solution. It's expensive, and your tokens, the batteries run out, and you have to have a new one, or you lose it. You don't have it with you when you want to log in. What's the difference between that and multi-factor authentication, and how can Authlogics help us?
Okay, multi-factor authentication. But before that, I'll tell you what. You just mentioned something about RSA, and you know the way, not specifically RSA, the way they sell it, and they sell two-factor authentication. Now, two-factor authentication, like you mentioned, forms with something that you know and something that you have. Say something that you know is your password, and something that you have is something a random generated code, be it on a key fob or through an SMS or through the app. Now, what they sell you is one factor, which is something that you have, the random generated code. Password is something that you've always had, right?
Yeah.
So it's not specifically. If you go to some scientists, they say it's just one factor, but they sell as two factors.
They're selling regardless. The second factor.
Exactly. Now, multi-factor authentication is an extension to that part, because two-factor again is not enough. Say, for example, you have a password and you have a key fob that gives you random generated number. Now, if I know your password and if I gain access to your key fob, I can log in, right?
Yeah.
Now, multi-factor takes it to another level. The third factor or the fourth factor or the fifth factor is something that you are, okay? And that could be something that you are doing, okay? You might be in China or you're accessing your website through China, whereas you should be in the UK. So the systems block it. So it secures you through geography, through biometric, you know, the third factor, something that you are, or the iris scan, or sometimes a transaction validation part. So say, for example, you try to add a new pay to your internet banking account, right?
Yeah.
Some banks ask you to verify that transaction through, well, nowadays they've got this hardware token. You have to slot the card in and then press the tick button, and you enter some numbers and it generates another number. That's the third factor, which is another layer on top of your two-factor authentication, which is quite specific to something that you are doing at the time. That's why I said something that you are. Okay, so that's multi-factor authentication, put it that way.
Okay, that's good, thank you. That's an interesting approach and a good explanation of how that works.